Good day and welcome to a new video. Hey, it's Daniel here. This is a new video with turnipberry, and sorry for the audio cut. I managed to have my audio disabled for some reason. So yeah, enjoy the interview with turnipberry.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for having me.
So the audio in this one of my side is lost, so I'm just salvaging this video. So hopefully you can still enjoy this video. Yep.
Right, you've got a bit of feedback. There's a yeah. I'm hearing my voice replaying over the chat.
Yeah, and there's also technical difficulties that do happen in these videos. Unfortunately, I have to live with it, and it's the way it is right now. But if we grow this channel more and more, we can get these things better. And every video is different. And
Well, I've got headphones in, but you know, I'm hearing it's like a 10-second delay after I talk. I'm hearing my voice again.
Being live, we can't change a lot. But if you like, share, subscribe, it'll really help this channel. We do have some amazing videos already with amazing artists. This artist, turnipberry, is awesome. I really like her work. Her work's amazing. Check her out. She's has some awesome commission work that she does, and it's great. And she does talk a lot of advice here. So I'll try and salvage this video as much as I can. Thank you for checking out this video, and thank you for coming in. I really do appreciate anyone that does watch these videos. My goal here is to try and get more knowledge to artists and to encourage them to pursue this, because it's not easy trying to make a living as an artist or illustrator. It's a hard career to try and get yourself into, but it is worth it if you are willing to put in the time and effort to try and make it. Every minute counts. I talk about that concept, and every minute counts. Every 5 minutes can add up to 35 minutes in a week. So yeah.
All right, sorry about that. I disconnected from the voice chat briefly.
Yeah, we got reconnected, and then she said a few things here and there. So yeah, just listen closely to what she has to say. I'll go through the questions that I asked her when they come up.
Right. I am a freelance illustrator. You know, I'm just starting out as a freelance illustrator. I've recently quit my day job. I am supporting myself almost entirely off of art and illustrations now. I live in Northern California in the U.S., and I'm hoping to go into a career in concept art and illustration. I'm still hearing that echo.
Yeah, so Tulip is really awesome. I really enjoyed this talk. It was good. Yeah, we did have a little bit more echoing issues from here on, and
I understand.
we got to see she does some awesome commissions here, and she works on some interesting animals, creatures, and characters and things, which is good to see. I did ask her what program she did use next, so I went on to what programs and mediums, tradition, and things like that she used. So she will say that in a minute. I use a lot of Photoshop, a lot of traditional mediums, and a lot of things like that. Yeah, I'm hoping that the next videos that I do will go better than this one. I mean, the actual talk went really great. Unfortunately, obviously, the audio has gone on my side due to something to do with Open Broadcaster. And yeah, she'll be back.
My favorite medium to work with is probably Photoshop, digital artwork. I'm a little bit less in practice with a lot of traditional media, but I do like doing pen and ink. But most of my work is done through Photoshop.
So I really liked how she did her fire here. It was really awesome. Um, there's so much you can do in Photoshop, and she uses Photoshop mainly. I think you should try different mediums every now and again. But yeah, if you are a digital artist, I do recommend Photoshop. I feel it's one of the best well-known products in the digital art industry, kind of a thing. Um, but yeah, if you try different mediums, it's great. You can feed those back into your digital works, like learning how to paint a certain way. You can try that in Photoshop somehow as well, like if you try and render, say, some jeans or something. Um, yeah, I'm trying my best to fix this video. I know it is pretty bad at the moment, but our next one should go good. Hopefully I should have it fixed by then. It was some issue that I had. Yeah, I know it's a bit upsetting not to hear what I was saying in this video. Maybe we could have her in again, which would be awesome, having these artists in, and I really do appreciate all these artists coming in. It's awesome. Yeah, cheers again.
I Sorry for interrupting. Now, I've been doing mainly animals, and creature design is something I really enjoy, fantasy and whatnot. I am trying to do more character design just because it is something so important to have for, portfolios and, being hireable. But it's going kind of slow at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
I did talk about a bit of character design and how I'm delving now into character design, rather than staying and sticking to creatures and animals and things, which is an interesting field for me to try and pursue now, which is great for me to learn. Yeah.
I think there are advantages to both approaches. Yeah, it really depends on what part of the industry you're trying to get into. If there's something, game design, if there's a particular field that you're specializing in, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's all well and good. There are situations in which being able to do a wide variety of different styles, being able to do something more cartoony or something more realistic is a great benefit as well. But it's perfectly fine to specialize in something and just look for a job that's specifically doing.
See, there's some great advice from Turnip. Yeah, we can't do much about the audio and stuff, but yeah, she's saying some good tips there. Like thinking about specialized versus generalist. So I asked her, would you specialize or generalize? And everything works for different people. So bear that in mind. Some people work better as generalists, some people work as specific. With specifics, I feel you can advance way better just focusing on one thing, whereas if you focus on a lot of things, it might take a while to actually advance in things, especially if you're delving into a lot of fields. It might take a while to see any progress. But yeah, it's a valid point that she brings up.
At the moment, sorry. Yeah, at the moment, commissions are my main source of income.
So here I asked her when she first started getting commissions and if she had any interesting stories to tell.
Mm, Oh, it's definitely interesting. You know, when you're first going into doing commissions, you know, there's a lot of stuff I wish I had known when I started. Probably the most important thing that anyone who's looking to go into starting to do commissions or anything to get paid for doing, you know, artwork, anyone who wants to get paid for doing this sort of thing needs to you know, price themselves. You know, you need to get paid what you're. You know, if you can't get at least minimum wage for what you're doing, it's, you know, it's not worth it. You know, you have to at least get paid for your time, and I see a lot of artists, you know, just about everywhere who underprice themselves. You know, they're not valuing their time and their effort. You know, and I'm, you know, I'm kind of sad about that.
Here I talked about how artists, you know, they price themselves low, sometimes to entice them to go for them, especially when they're starting out, which is just it's a hard industry to start out. But yeah, I do agree that you shouldn't work for more than minimum wage.
Yeah, and there is, you know, that's I can see the, you know, the benefit of that. And if, you know, if you feel like people wouldn't, you know, wouldn't be able to pay, or if your specific audience wouldn't be able to pay a certain price, then, you know, there are, you know, there's a balancing act you have to do. But personally, I feel that if you can't get at least minimum wage for something, then, you know, it's not really worth your time to be going into it yet.
She says a valid point there. Yeah, so you know, you shouldn't. I don't think you should work for less than you're worth, obviously. Um, but I think you should also, you know, enjoy what you're doing, as well. There's that factor you got to think about, when doing commissions and things. Um, yeah, it's not an easy industry to get into. Trying to commission and trying to get people, entice them to do your commission. I mean, some people think $300 for a commission is cheap. Others think, oh, that's a lot of money on something. Um, you know, it's everyone has their different prices and things. But just work on what works best for you, making enough to pay the bills, enough to, um, yeah, just make sure that you are happy and healthy, earning money while doing what you love, but not trying to do it and just get by.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You want to really try and make money from it, really. You don't want to be, like she says, you don't want to be, you know, wasting your time. Even if you have to get a, you know, a job, and a standard, you know, desk job or something, to pay the bills, and this you do on the side. I mean, I think that's what she said before, is that she's, you know, she's had work, and she was working, and now she's a full-time commissioner. If she didn't say it before, she's about to say it. Sorry for spoilers, if there's any spoilers. I'm trying to do my best for this video. Yeah, it was a great video, and hopefully you keep watching. And here I was also saying is, like, I've had a commission before,
It's
and it
pretty much
was
that.
through course, so it was kind of a safety net thing where, you know, I wasn't wasting time because it was part of course, and I was getting
So
paid for it,
I keep
which
stepping on you. You know,
made it
the
a
lag is
great
getting to me.
experience for me. Um, but
Sorry.
if I was to do it now, I would have charged more, because it's part of my spare time is taking money. Uh, you know, I need to use it to pay the bills. But if it's something like that, like on the side job, you know, if you're working and you're doing a little bit of commission on the side, a few extra pingers here and there might be great for you. You know, that's you know, a goal maybe is for me is to, if I do, you know, if a full-time job, I could also do commissions on the side, and that's the thing. But yeah, you gotta keep yourself happy and healthy too. Make sure that you can pay the bills and everything. Um, yeah, it takes time to build up an audience and to build up commissions and things. So I asked her if she does have times without commissions.
Yeah, there have been. It happens semi-periodically. Every couple of months I'll get a slow period, and it usually isn't, anything drastic. But if I have, an unexpected expense that comes up, if there's something, I need to spend more money than usual on, it can be a problem once in a while. So it's kind of a tricky balancing act of, I always try to make sure that I have, at least a few $100s stocked away somewhere for the slow period. And, occasionally, or every once in a while, there'll be a period where so many people want commissions that, I can hardly keep up. But, there are slow periods, and you have to make sure you're ready for those.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do everything. You just gotta prioritize what is good, what is needing to be taken out maybe, and decide on what really needs to be done now and what you can finish and what you can just start at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most important things is to prioritize your time. You can't do everything. And if you try to do everything, you'll end up burning out and just, being stressed and not really having a good time with it. So it is important to take a step back, look at realistically at what you can do, and, figure out, what your priorities are.
Yeah, so that is a key thing, is to prioritize. Um, I mean, you won't achieve anything in art if you are struggling in other places. Like if you're struggling with home life, you probably won't find any time to do art life. So you need to also work on not just your art life,
Hmm.
but yeah, work on other bits and pieces here that you can do, like keeping your house clean as well. That can be a thing, if your room's pretty messy, well, when you come in to do your work, you might fall over or something, and that will take time out of your art life, your illustration stuff, and yeah, it's just a matter
Yeah.
of working what motivates you and what keeps you going, and deciding on what works for you, what things to do. Like if you need to go outside for a walk. Sometimes it's great to just go out for a walk sometimes.
Yeah, and until just a couple of months ago, I had a day job. I had a part-time day job that I was working as well. Um, and at the beginning of the summer, I quit my day job because I figured I was finally at the point artistically where I could support myself doing it. So while I had the day job for the last couple of years, I was, doing one or two commissions a month just as supplementary, cash, just a little bit of money on the side. And, it was on my days off, after work, I would just do usually a couple of hours every day. But now that I don't have that day job, now that I'm not working, 8-hour shifts 3 or 4 days a week, I can devote that time to commissions instead. So I tend to work, when I take a commission, I tend to get it done very quickly within a day or two because I'm working anywhere from 6 to 8 hours on it every day. So, for and I do personally prefer to work that way because it lets me get it done and out of the way quicker. If I want to take a break, I can. That's the benefit of doing something for yourself, is that, you can set your own hours. But if I want to take something new, I can take something new and make twice as much money that week or that month or whatever period of time. But it is definitely important when you're doing this kind of stuff for yourself. Because you can set your own schedule, it's important that you set a schedule for yourself. If you're going to be doing this sort of thing for a living, you need to be treating it like a job. You need to be putting in enough hours to, make money off.
Yeah, I think you need to, take care of it like your baby, eventually it will grow. It just takes a while to nurture it and feed it, and yeah.
Yeah. But, at the same time, if you're just really tired that day, or if if something just isn't working out, or if you're just getting stressed or frustrated, if you don't have an immediate pressing deadline, you do have that freedom to stop and take a step back and watch cat videos on YouTube. It's very, very nice to have the freedom to do.
Yeah, like I said before, you do have to work on yourself as well. Um, make sure your body's healthy and everything so that you can keep going in art. You don't want to pull all-nighter. Well, that's the way I feel. I don't like pulling all-nighters because in the end it destroys you for 2 days. You're doing an all-nighter one night. You may achieve a lot of work, but then the next day or next 2 days you'll be recovering from there. If you keep to a scheduled plan, then you've got 2 days of work. You've got 8 hours there, 8 hours there, rather than trying to do a whole 12-hour night. Which it really tires you out for a whole day, which breaks that pattern. I try with my schedule. I try to get up by before 9, and then when I've got the days off and stuff like that. 9, and then I finish around about 6:30 during the day, and then I do little sketches on the TV. But usually, sometimes I don't feel like doing sketches. Sometimes I do, which keep going. Other times I finish even earlier than that, but I always take breaks during the day as well. Like I have my lunch break and walks and every now and again and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the kind of stuff we do for art and illustration and that sort of thing, there are some actual health hazards that can come from pushing yourself too far. I have pretty much ruined my eyesight via eye strain, staring at a computer screen for too long. And I have experienced some of the beginning stages of carpal tunnel syndrome. So you need to be taking breaks, even if you're working an all-day shift. You need to be taking breaks every hour and a half at a bare minimum. To let your hands rest, to let your eyes rest. To every once in a while to not be looking at a computer screen at all. That sort of thing is very, very important.
Here I say a little bit about how, at the start, doing 20 minutes of something you don't like can be very frustrating, especially if you don't understand it. But eventually, you start to understand and learn something, and, doing an hour in that subject becomes more bearable, and it becomes enjoyable in the end. Like me diving into character design now, I've done a lot of creatures and animals, and now me delving into human anatomy and character design. It's been a long process of me doing like 5 hour or 5-10 minutes to an hour of just drawing humans, and now I can stand a few hours of just working on characters and illustrations like that. Yeah. Ask her what subject that she likes to draw.
Yeah, it varies from time to time. I tend to enjoy I tend to enjoy challenging myself. I like finding something new that I haven't necessarily drawn before, and finding a way to to make it work. So I tend to enjoy looking for new things to draw and finding things that I haven't necessarily done before. In general, though, I do really enjoy animals and fantasy and that sort of thing.
Yeah, challenging yourself is really awesome. If you try and delve into new things, like what I was saying before, character design. I'm actually really liking character design. It's good to be able to, keep improving on yourself and things like that. And I quite enjoy drawing animals though, and I will always love to delve into drawing more animals and things. And that what keeps me going too is also, really liking what you do and stuff like that. Awesome.
Yeah, and if you're doing character design at the and you like doing, animal and creature design and something like that, if you're having trouble doing, if you're having trouble motivating yourself to do character design or whatever else you're working on at the time, sometimes it helps to, combine the new thing you're doing with the old thing that you enjoy. So design a character that has creature-like elements or something of that sort. Finding a way to work things that you already know and like, and you're good at, into new things that you're doing, and then you can branch out from.
Yeah, it's good to delve into new things as well. Not all things you enjoy, but some of them may be very
Yeah.
helpful, like color theory. Not everyone loves color, but it's really helpful for some people. And same with, if you try inks. Not everyone likes inks, but it could be a helpful thing to learn. Or if you hate drawing humans like me, well, I don't anymore, but it is helpful. It brings new knowledge into your works. You also want to enjoy it while learning. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of. Sorry. Yeah, that's one of the the biggest things is finding a way to enjoy something.
Because, if you don't enjoy this, well, why are you doing it? You don't want to sit there trying to get good at something you're not really enjoying. That's just like working in a way. You're trying to get good at something to get paid. Yeah, it's just that. But, you want to, if you're doing this, you really want to enjoy it while learning. There's times where you're learning stuff that you don't enjoy it, like when I was doing human anatomy, drawing human anatomy, because I did not understand it at all. I was just really hated it. But, now I don't mind it as much, I'm used to it, and I'm starting to now pick up the skills from it, and I'm actually learnt quite a bit, and now I'm actually enjoying character design. I may not think I don't get everything accurate, but and it takes time to grow. I think I talked a little bit in this chat about how some artists grow. You can see the growth of their artist in their gallery. You can see all the works from start to finish, kind of a thing, and it's really good to see. Especially I like looking through artists like this that have awesome galleries, and yeah, just to see what they do. It's really helpful to see other artists out there and other things out there to help you out. Yeah. Ask her if she sets goals and what she does to achieve them. And here's her answer.
I do set goals. At the moment, I am also trying to work on character design, having interesting, character designs, having interesting shapes. Yeah, I'm trying to, I've worked a lot on trying to do more realistic, to a certain point. But I've actually kind of neglected doing things in a cartoony style, being able to abstract things and not necessarily doing, photorealistic anatomy or whatever. So I'm kind of hovering in the uncanny. So my goal at the moment is to try and figure out how to kind of balance those two different styles, and doing better character design and better creature design, and better, be better at that sort of. So at the moment, I'm studying people whose art styles I admire, people who who are doing things that I would like to learn how to do. I look for things in their art that I that look good, that I think would help my art style, and I'm not copying them specifically, but I'm looking for ways that I could integrate some of those principles into my own way of doing things. And normally when I work on a goal, the first step is to figure out what you need to do. So, okay, say I want to improve at something. What specifically do I need to improve at? Okay, so it's anatomy. How could I learn that? You know, there's anatomy guides, there's textbooks, there's a couple of fantastic books and whatnot on human anatomy and animal anatomy and things like that. You know, where can I find information on this sort of, you know, and how can I integrate it into my art? And if for a period of 6 months or a year, you work on, you know, like you said, even if it's only just a few minutes every day, you know, you work on just practicing and doing little studies and integrating it into the other pieces you're doing. And it's you just have to keep at it and keep going until you're satisfied with your progress on one topic and you shift over to something else.
And here, you know, you can't learn it all. It takes a while to learn everything. But yeah, you know.
Well, you have to break it down into manageable chunks. You know, you have to break it down into manageable chunks.
I mean, yeah, 5 minutes can go a long way if you do it every day. And that will build up. That's 35 minutes a week. Eventually, that will turn into what 6-7 hours of work over the course of a month or two. You know, that's quite a bit of work on a subject that you don't like, and you know it improves things, and eventually you might enjoy it because you understand it now, so it's not as terrifying anymore. You know, so yeah, you got to set good goals.
Well, I find that something that helps is that every time you finish a piece, or even while you're still working on a piece, you know, you should always be looking back at your work and judging yourself basically, and looking at stuff you're doing and saying, okay, what's working about this? What isn't working? What do I like about this? Just even if it's just fine. I'll make a list of things you like about a particular picture and make a list of things that you don't like about a particular picture. You know, you can make an effort in the future to include more of the things you're enjoying about that picture and less of the things you're, you know, working on improving the things that you even something like that will help tremendously in the long run.
Yeah, I quite enjoy looking back at works that I've done in years past. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, I've done so much improvement. But yeah, if I look back a month ago, it's not too much improvement.
Yeah, and that is an interesting way to go about things as well, because you know you're looking at other artists on DeviantArt or YouTube or something like that and seeing, oh, a couple of years ago this person was doing the kind of stuff I'm doing now, and well, what steps did they take to improve, and how could I do that? You know, it's fascinating looking over people's old work, you know, and seeing how people improve over.
I scroll through some DeviantArt galleries, and sometimes, you know, you see it go from pretty good, and then all of a sudden it just, you know, drops down in skill level.
Well, in that case, you know, you have to, yeah, you want to figure out what went wrong. So which of those categories does my stuff fall into?
Yeah, there's some different DeviantArt galleries out there, and same with ArtStation is another one, where people have, you know, they have like 10 great pieces, and then it starts going downhill from there. I feel like I'm one of those galleries because I don't have the best piece in the world. You just can tell how long they've been doing it, I suppose. There's that too. But with your gallery, Turnip's gallery, it's just got a range of amazing pieces there, and it takes a while to slowly see the improvement, like from the start of the gallery, and it keeps going down, and eventually it starts to be like, you know, less skill, you know, and so it's good to see it the other way too. It's like, oh, you're seeing the skill go up, and it's getting better and better till you reach the top of your gallery, and you're like, whoa, this piece is awesome. But yeah, it takes a while to improve, and you can see that in galleries. I don't post everything I do. I think that's when I asked her, is do you post everything you do?
Not everything, no. And a lot of stuff. I do a lot of traditional pen and ink studies of animals, and you know, to work on shading and fur and anatomy and stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff I don't post, mainly just because I don't have a good scanner. I have no way to get it onto the computer. But I also do a lot of studies digitally, which I never post, or a good use for stuff like that, for sketches that you're not necessarily posting to social media or something of that sort, is a lot of them get posted as Patreon. Just extra content that you can get some use out of.
I mean, there's thousands of my sketches that are pretty bad, like I don't want to show anyone. Some are just for fun. I don't care if people see them or people don't. There are artists that are out there that have like amazing drawings or doodles that they don't show anyone, and then they post them one day, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's the best piece you've ever done. Is that too? It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't post everything. You don't need to. I don't. Yeah, not everything's gonna be that great.
I have a surprising amount of sci-fi stuff that has never ever seen the light of day. And I have every intention of starting to post that sometime, and then but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Every now and again, I surprise myself with the art that I do find. Sometimes I don't remember drawing that or something. I talked a little bit here about, as a younger person, I did kind of have bursts. Like it would be, I didn't do any good drawings, and then every month or so I'd do a good drawing, which was like, oh, interesting. But now it still takes some time and develop things, but I know how to get from an idea into a good drawing. And it does take some time, it takes some working out every now and again, but it does work out in the end. I've got some interesting things that I've lost, and I would like to salvage again, but I will probably never find some of that stuff. But yeah, every now and again I zoom through what I've got on here, on my computer, and find some good stuff. Yeah, I think scrolling through old ideas may help in new projects as well. Yeah, which is great advice that Turnip did bring up.
Posting a backlog of progress for a yearly special or something of that sort, just sketch dumps and that sort of thing. That can be real. I've cycled through 2 or 3 different computers in the last couple of years, so I've actually lost some of my older records. But
Yeah, I would say I've lost a few things. Like in one of the YouTube videos that I've done before, I talked about a little Stegosaurus book that I made, and I'd like to redo that one day. But I'll never recover it because I don't know where it's gone. It's probably I did it when I was like 12 or something, and when I was 12, things disappeared. So I also had owned a few computers, so there's actually probably a lot of stuff that's disappeared over the years too. And I don't keep everything digital. I've got a lot of traditional stuff that I probably still have, so I could salvage some of that. But yeah,
oh,
do appreciate you guys checking out this video. So please do like, share, subscribe. I really do. I'm really sad that we lost
possibly.
most of this video. It was a great convo, and I try and salvage as much as I can. Hopefully I got all the advice in here that will help you guys. It might not be as enjoyable as some of my other ones, but it was a great interview, and hopefully we'll have her in again for another interview, and it'll go great. But yeah, it's all about a bit of saving stuff and things, and yeah, not all ideas I create are great.
I can remember that feeling growing up. Yeah, and that always seemed to make it worth it. That always seemed to make it worth waiting for it.
So here I was actually saying a bit about how growing up I was learning things, and I didn't really get any good drawings for a while, and once a month I'll get a good drawing and I'll just be so excited about it. Um, sometimes when I was younger, I did post nearly everything I did. I was like, oh, look at this drawing, oh, look at this, but it wasn't that great. But I would try drawings, and every now and again I will have a eureka moment. It's like, oh, this is a great drawing. Um, After all this drawing, I used to draw all the time, and seeing the improvement over the years is, what she was saying. It's our drive. Because I really like to see, what I've done years ago, and then compare what I've done these days. It's a different, sometimes it feels like a different style, or it just, I've learnt more about rendering, about all sorts of stuff, and it really does help. Yeah, I think you do need a focus, to keep improving stuff. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing is using brushes versus actually rendering it. Um, I struggle with brushes just because I'm used to actually trying to render things, and I think actually I'm still at that stage of learning how to render things, because I haven't painted like everything and everything. I've painted a lot of fur. I've painted a lot of like animals and things, so I understand those textures. But when it comes to new textures that come in, I don't understand them all. So I'm always learning new textures. Like at the moment, I'm learning genes. Um, so yeah, sometimes photo brushes I do try, but it's not my thing yet.
No, brushes are very useful, and it's taken me. I do use a lot of brushes now. It's taken me a while to learn how to use them correctly, though. So I would recommend for anyone who's interested in learn to hand render first, because if you understand how the textures work, how to make things look realistic, then you can then go back in with brushes and other things, add an extra level to it. But you need that basic understanding first, or it's going to be a lot harder than it.
Yeah, well, with brushes, don't expect it to work straight away. It's not like, oh, paint glass.
Magic.
You really have to know what you're doing with the brushes. They can save you time, but you really have to know and understand how textures and skin works. You can't just get a skin brush and expect that brush to make your skin look amazing. There's a bit of learning involved about how to render things, and yeah.
A lot. Yeah. Now, a lot of the stuff I did uh between 1.5 and 2 years ago. So a lot of the 2016 stuff about that time, I was doing mostly hand rendering. So I've got a lot of detailed work on feathers and fur and all that kind of stuff, and I was doing all of that by hand. And it was a very enjoyable process, and I learned a lot doing it. And I'm very, very glad I did it, but it was very, very time consuming. So when I started to go more into doing this sort of thing, for a living, doing it, commercial, where time is important, then learning how to use brushes becomes a very valuable time. It's learning how to take shortcuts correctly, without compromising the quality of what you're doing.
Which is a very great point there and tip, is to learn. Learning things does save you time later on, which is great. You need to keep learning so that you can use that knowledge to save you time. And it's the same thing with brushes.
Well, thank you very, very much for having me. I'm very happy to have. I hope some of my advice can help people.
So, do you have any last things to say?
Uh, Mainly just trying to reiterate. Practice is very important, and figuring out what you can improve at, and constantly always trying to improve. You know, I think a good attitude to have as an artist is, uh, even if you're good, you should never be good enough. You should always be working to improve. You should always be looking for something that you can do.
Awesome, and that was turnipberry. Awesome. Check out her gallery. It is amazing. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I try to save this as much as I can. These mistakes happen, you know. And we should be again for another video soon. So please like, share, and subscribe. Check out all my other videos. Check out this one. Check out, you know, everything. Anywho, yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm really glad we had Turnip in today, and yeah, hopefully we'll have her in again for a fully recorded chat. So yeah, and you can also check out my Patreon if you would like to see more of these videos and the other previous videos that I've had. I usually do time lapses, but I did this today because I need to do more regular videos. Anyway, thank you, goodbye.